My cousin handed me her phone to look at a vacation photo. She swiped too far. A message thread opened. The group name was Family Business. I saw my mother's name, my sisters, 2 uncles, 3 cousins, every person in my immediate family. Every single one. My name was not there. I stared at the screen for 3 seconds. That was enough. I asked my cousin what the chat was for. Her face went white. The kind of white that happens when someone has been caught doing something they knew was wrong. She grabbed the phone back and said it was nothing. Just logistics. Organizing holidays. Coordinating gifts. Nothing personal. I asked how long it had existed. She would not answer. She just shook her head and said it was not a big deal. So I asked someone who would. My sister. She looked at me for a long second, and then she said about 2 years. They started it 2 years ago, and no one thought to add me. That was the first time I realized I was not just left out of a chat. I was left out of family. I called my sister that night. Laura answered on the 3rd ring. I could hear her kids in the background, the TV, the sound of a house full of life. I asked about the group chat. She paused for too long. The kind of pause that is not a pause, but a search for the right lie. Then she said it was for planning our mother's birthday. Just logistics. Nothing important. I asked why I was not in it. She said I was bad at responding to messages. She said it with a little laugh, like she was telling a joke we both understood. I asked if anyone had ever invited me. She said she did not remember. She said it probably just slipped her mind. I hung up and scrolled through my texts. 3 years of messages from my sister, from my mother, from my uncles and cousins. I searched for the words group chat or family thread or anything that looked like an invitation. Nothing. Not one message. No one had ever asked. I thought about every Thanksgiving dinner I had shown up to find the time had been changed. Every family gathering where everyone else seemed to know something I did not. My mother asking why I was late. My sister sighing like I was the problem. I had always assumed I was forgetful. I had always assumed I was the one who could not keep track. Now I wondered if I'd been excluded instead. Not accidentally. Not carelessly. On purpose. My wife asked what was wrong. I told her about the chat. About my sister's pause. About the 3 years of messages that never came. She sat down next to me on the couch, and she said that is not forgetfulness. That is intentional. I did not want to believe her. I wanted to believe there was an explanation. A misunderstanding. A good reason that would make all of this feel smaller than it was. But I could not explain why no one had ever thought to add me. Not once. Not for 3 years. Not after 100 family events that required planning. There was no explanation that made that okay. I sat on my couch with my phone in my hand, and I started counting. How many times had I shown up late because I did not have the right information? How many times had I been the last to know something everyone else had already discussed? How many times had I been excluded without even knowing I was being excluded? I did not have an answer, but I had a question, and the question was worse than any answer could be. I started asking questions quietly. I did not want to make accusations. I just wanted to understand. I asked my mother how my uncle knew about Laura's new job before I did. She said he must have heard it somewhere. I asked where. She changed the subject to the weather. I asked my cousin why everyone knew about my grandmother's hospital stay except me. He said someone must have forgotten to text me. I asked who forgot. He said he did not remember. He said it was probably no one's fault. I asked my other cousin about a family dinner I showed up an hour late for. He said the time got changed in the chat. I asked which chat. He went quiet. The pattern became clear. No one had excluded me on purpose. But no one had included me on purpose either. I was not blocked. I was not banned. I was just never added. There is a difference between being pushed out and being left behind. The difference does not hurt less. Being left behind means no one thought about you at all. Being left behind means you are not even important enough to exclude. You're just forgotten. Over and over. By everyone. And no one could tell you why. I asked my mother directly if there was a chat without me. I asked it flat, no anger, just a question. She looked at her hands for a long time. She said Laura set it up. It was just easier. I asked easier for who? She did not answer. She just sat there with her hands in her lap and her mouth closed. I watched her not answer, and I realized she did not have a good answer. She had a convenient one. Easier. That was the word. Easier to leave me out than to remember to add me. Easier to let me be late than to send one extra text. Easier to let me feel crazy than to admit they had made a choice. I was not invisible. They just found it easier to look past me. And they had been doing it for so long that no one even noticed anymore. I asked my uncle directly at a family barbecue. It was a Sunday afternoon in June. Everyone was there. My mother, my sister, my cousins, all the people whose names I'd seen on that phone screen. I found Uncle Paul standing by the grill with a beer in his hand and his phone in his pocket. I said I heard there was a group chat. He did not look surprised. He just nodded and said there were several, different ones for different things. I asked why I was not in the main one, the one where plans got made and times got changed and information got shared. He looked at his beer. He said I was not as active as everyone else. I asked if anyone had ever considered adding me anyway. He said it just never came up. It just never came up. Those 5 words told me everything I needed to know. 3 years of being left out, and the explanation was that no one thought about me long enough to include me. I stood there holding a paper plate with potato salad on it. I was 10 feet away from my sister, 15 feet from my mother, 20 feet from the cousins who had been messaging each other for 3 years without me. I was having conversation about my place in the family while standing in the middle of the family. I asked my uncle to add me. He said he would talk to Laura about it. She ran the chat. I asked why Laura ran a chat I was not allowed to join. He walked away. He just turned around and walked back to the grill and picked up his tongs and started flipping burgers like we had been talking about the weather. My wife saw my face. She walked over and asked if I was okay. I said I did not know if I had ever been okay in this family. I just did not know it until now. I set my plate down on the picnic table. I did not eat the potato salad. I just stood there and watched my family move around me like I was furniture, like I was part of the background, like my absence from their conversations was not a choice but a fact of nature, something that just happened, something no one needed to explain. Laura did not add me. A week passed. I checked my phone every day for an invitation that never came. Then 2 weeks. I asked my mother if she had talked to Laura about it. She said she did not want to get in the middle. I asked what middle. She said, you know how Laura is. I didn't know. Laura was the one everyone listened to. Laura was the one who decided where holidays happened and who got invited and what time everyone needed to show up. Laura ran the family. And Laura had decided, without telling me, that I did not need to be in the chat. I texted Laura myself. I kept it polite. I said I would like to be added to the family thread whenever someone had a chance. She responded 3 hours later. She said she would check if there was room in the chat. Room. In a group chat. On an app with no member limits. You can add 100 people to a single thread. There is no room check. There is no capacity issue. There is only whether someone wants you there or not. That was when I stopped wanting to be added. That was when I started wanting to see what they had been saying about me. For 3 years, my family had been messaging each other in a place I could not see. They had been making plans and sharing news and probably talking about why I was not there. I wanted to read those messages. I needed to read them, not because I wanted to be hurt, because I want to know if the hurt I already felt was accidental or on purpose. My wife asked what I was doing. I told her I was going to find a way into that chat. She said, "You're not going to like what you find." I said I already did not like what I had found. I just wanted to know if I should stop pretending. Stop pretending everything was fine. Stop pretending I belonged. Stop pretending they loved me the way I loved them. She hugged me. She did not tell me I was wrong. She did not say I was overreacting. She did not say family is complicated and I should let it go. She just held me. That was how I knew I was not the problem. I had spent 3 years thinking I was forgetful, difficult, hard to include. But my wife knew me, and she was not telling me to apologize. She was telling me to pay attention. I was finally paying attention, and what I saw was worse than I had imagined. Not because they hated me, because they had not thought about me at all, and that was somehow worse. My cousin's husband felt bad for me. His name was Mark. He had married in the family 5 years ago, and he had always been kind to me in a way that felt different from everyone else. Less conditional, less distant. He pulled me aside at a cookout and asked if I was okay. I told him about the chat. He looked at the ground for a long time. Then he pulled out his phone. He said he should not show me this. I said I needed to see it. He scrolled back 3 months and handed me the phone. I watched messages appear that I was never meant to see. My mother complaining that I asked too many questions about money. She said I was nosy and she wished I would just mind my own business. Laura saying I was exhausting to plan around. She said accommodating me was not worth the effort. My uncle making a joke about how I would probably cry if I knew the chat existed. Then laughing emojis. 3 of them. From 3 different people. My mother, my sister, my cousin, all of them. My whole family laughing at a joke about me crying. I scrolled up further. More messages. More complaints. More jokes at my expense. A pattern of me being discussed like I was a problem to be managed rather than a person to be loved. The most recent message was from that morning. Laura asking what time everyone was coming for dinner on Sunday. No one asked if I was coming. No one asked if anyone had told me the time. I was not in the chat. I was not at the dinner. I had not been invited. I had not even been considered. Mark said he should not have shown me. I asked how long this had been going on. He said years. He thought I knew. He thought someone must have told me by now. Years. They had been doing this for years. Excluding me. Complaining about me. Laughing at me. And I had been showing up to every family event with a smile on my face, thinking I was loved, thinking I belonged, thinking the distance I felt was just in my head. It was not in my head. It was in writing, on a phone, in a chat I was never meant to see. I handed Mark back his phone. My hands were shaking. I did not know if I should confront them with what I saw or disappear from a family that had already learned to live without me. Both options felt like losing. Both options hurt. I just had to decide which hurt I could live with. I did not go to dinner on Sunday. I did not text anyone to say I was not coming. I just did not show up. No call to ask why. I sat on my couch with my phone on the cushion next to me. I watched the minutes turn into hours. My wife sat with me. She did not say I told you so. She did not say anything. She just held my hand. That was more than my family had done in years. A woman I had known for 6 years was showing up for me in a way my own blood had forgotten how to do. On Monday morning, I sent a message to the entire family. Not in their chat. I was not in their chat. So I sent individual texts to every person whose name I had seen in that thread. My mother, my sister, my 2 uncles, 3 cousins. I wrote the same thing to each of them. I saw the group chat. I saw what you wrote about me. Do not contact me until you are ready to explain why. I pressed send on the last message, and I put my phone down. My hands were shaking. My wife asked if I was sure. I said I had never been less sure of anything in my life. But I was also tired of pretending. Tired of showing up to dinners where I was not wanted. Tired of laughing at jokes I did not know were about me. Tired of being the punchline in a conversation I was not allowed to join. My mother called within 4 minutes. I saw her name on my screen. I let it ring. Laura called 7 minutes after that. I let it ring. My uncle sent a text that said I was overreacting. He said it was just a chat, and I was making it into something it was not. I did not respond. My wife asked if I was going to answer any of them. I said not yet. I said they had 3 years to include me. They could wait a few days to explain themselves. I sat on my couch, and I waited. I did not know if anyone would offer an apology without being asked. I did not know if they would call just to tell me I was wrong to be hurt. I did not know anything except that I could not keep pretending anymore. The pretending was over. Now I had to find out what was left. Laura showed up at my apartment 3 days later. She did not knock. She used her key. The key I had given her for emergencies. The key I thought she would only use if something terrible happened. She stood in my kitchen with her arms crossed, and she said I was being dramatic. She said I was making a big deal out of nothing. I asked her to read the messages out loud. The ones where my mother said, I asked too many questions. The ones where Laura said I was exhausting. The ones where my uncle made a joke about me crying. She refused. She said that was private. I asked why she wrote that I would cry if I knew. She said it was a joke. Just a joke. I asked who laughed. She said everyone. Everyone laughed at a joke about me crying. I asked if she thought it was funny now. She looked at the floor. She said I was too hard to include. She said I always had opinions about everything, that I made things complicated. I asked what was complicated about adding me to a chat. One text message, one invitation. That was all it would have taken. She said I would have complained about the notifications. I said she had never given me the chance to complain or not complain. She had just decided. For 3 years, she had decided for me what I could handle, what I would complain about, whether I belonged. She had decided all of it without asking me once. She started crying. I did not comfort her. I had spent years comforting people who hurt me. I was done. I asked for my key back. She looked at me like I had hit her. She pulled the key off her ring and left it on the counter. The metal made a small sound against the granite. She walked out. She did not say goodbye. She did not say she was sorry. She just left. My wife came out of the bedroom. She asked if I was okay. I said no. I said I would be okay eventually. I've just had to figure out who I was without them. I had spent my whole life being the person they wanted me to be. The person who showed up late and apologized. The person who laughed at jokes he did not understand. The person who tried so hard to belong that he forgot to ask if belonging was even worth it. I did not know who I was outside of that, but I was going to find out. I had to. There was nothing left to hold on to. They had made sure of that. My mother sent a long email. 3 paragraphs. She said families were complicated. She said people made mistakes. She said I should forgive Laura because Laura was stressed with work and the kids in the house. She said I was holding a grudge, and that was not healthy. She said all of this. She did not say she was sorry. Not once. Not for the chat. Not for the jokes. Not for 3 years of excluding me. She just told me to forgive so everyone could go back to pretending everything was fine. My uncle called and left a voicemail. His voice was tight, annoyed, like he was doing me a favor by reaching out. He said I was making everyone uncomfortable. He said I should think about whether being right was worth losing my family. I saved the voicemail. I have listened to it twice. Each time I hear him say losing my family, as if I was the one who walked away. As if I was the one who left someone out. As if I was the one who made jokes about people crying. He had it backwards. I did not lose them. They lost me. They just did not know it yet. I changed my locks. I did not tell anyone. I did not want Laura showing up with her key again. I did not want anyone letting themselves into my home to tell me I was being dramatic. The locksmith came on a Tuesday. He asked if I had been robbed. I said no. I said I was just making sure I could not be. My wife asked if I wanted to talk to a therapist. I said yes. I went. The therapist asked what I wanted for my family. I said to be seen, not as a problem, as a person. She asked if they were capable of that. I said I did not know anymore. I used to think they were. I used to think the problem was me, that I was too sensitive, too difficult, too hard to love. But I was not the one who wrote those messages. I was not the one who laughed at the jokes. I was just the one who finally saw them. My mother called again. I answered because I was tired of letting it ring. She asked if I was coming to Thanksgiving. I asked if I was invited. She paused. Then she said, "You're always invited." I said that is not true, and you know it. She did not argue. She did not apologize. She just said okay, and she hung up. I sat in my kitchen with my new locks and my new therapist and my new understanding of where I stood. I had not lost my family. I had just finally seen them for who they were. And who they were was people who could watch me be left out for 3 years and never once ask if I was okay. It has been 7 months. My mother calls on birthdays. I answer sometimes. The conversations stay on the surface. Weather, work, the new restaurant she tried. Nothing about the chat. Nothing about Laura. Nothing about the messages I was not supposed to see. We talk like strangers who share a last name. That is what we have become. It hurts less than I thought it would. Or maybe I have just gotten used to the hurt. I cannot tell the difference anymore. My cousin's husband texted me last week. Mark, the one who showed me the chat. He said there was a new group. My name was in it this time. Someone had finally added me. He asked if I wanted to join. I said no. He asked why. I said I was tired of being added after the fact. Tired of being an afterthought. Tired of being invited to a table where I already knew I was not wanted. He said he understood. He said he was sorry. He was the only one who ever said that. The only one who ever looked me in the eye and told me I did not deserve what they did. I have built a different kind of family. People who do not have a separate conversation about whether I am worth including. People who do not laugh at jokes about me crying. People who call because they want to talk, not because they feel obligated. It took me 36 years to understand that blood makes you related. It does not make you family. Family is the people who show up, who include you, who do not need to be asked twice. I have found those people. They were not the ones I grew up with. That is not my fault. I have stopped carrying it like it is. Laura still has my key, the one she left on the counter. I meant to take it back. Part of me wanted her to keep it. Part of me wanted to see if she would ever use it again. She has not. It has been 7 months. The key is probably lost in a drawer somewhere, or thrown away. I do not know. I do not care anymore. That is the difference. I used to care about everything. Every missed invitation. Every conversation I was not part of. Every joke I was not supposed to hear. Now I just live my life. I do not wait by the phone. I do not check the chat I am not in. I have my own chat now. It has 3 people. Me, my wife, and a friend who actually calls back. That is enough. That is more than enough. I'm over at where silence ends. Have you ever had to build new family because the one you were born into never really saw you?